Hello, welcome to my latest look ahead video, but first thanks for what's happened the last few days. Thank you to the emails and some tweets I've had from people acknowledging I took part in the very important debate we had on climate change in the Commons last Thursday. We don't have enough debates on that subject. There were some really good contributions across party as well, recognising that this is the biggest emergency facing our planet. It's going to be there long after Brexit has gone. So it was slightly galling, therefore, to have two Labour councillors from Worthing who then had a go at me on social media for not having attended and not doing enough about climate change or doing anything about it. And in fact, not only had I attended, but I took part. And of course, I set up 11 years ago the I project, which is engaged now literally thousands of local pupils in how we can do more for the environment. So I've invited both those councillors to the next Eco Summit so they can learn a bit about what we're actually doing for the environment. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm not holding my breath. I also had a marathon session on Friday on Shoreham Beach with the head of the Environment Agency, with Councillor Kevin Boreham, the county councillor, and the local beach resident councillors, with about 6 different groups of people where there's still problems with the sea defence works. And it was a really helpful, if marathon, meeting about making sure that when the defence works are completed, we've got these snagging issues sorted. I also spent Sunday going to the mosque for the Visit the Local Mosque Day, and again had a great welcome. It was good to see so many people going along and engaging there. But 2 other really good things, bits of news from last week, is the government confirmed the carrying on of funding for our maintained nurseries, which I raised in Parliament recently in a special debate, and we had a big petition as well, and that affects Boundstone Nursery in Lancing, so that's really good news for them. And the other bit of good news is my private members bill is almost through its final stages in the Lords. It got through what's called its report stage on Friday unscathed, comes back on Thursday, and then we'll be back in the Commons hopefully on the 15th of March, and then it becomes law. So it's been a long time coming, but some really good progress we're making there. Now, looking at the week ahead, I've just come from a meeting this morning with Sompting councillors and others about the problems of flooding in Halewick Lane. And so I got together people from the County Council, the Ada Council, Parish Council, the local farmers, the land owners, and South Downs National Park to see what we can do to address the big flooding problem that we've had up there with all the earthworks that are going on there at the moment. And we've come up with a really good action plan, so I hope we can report on some progress there shortly, because it's been a real annoyance to residents in Halewick Lane. Later on this week, I've got an important meeting tomorrow around children and domestic violence. There's a new report out which I shall be commenting on. I shall also be at Westminster Abbey again, as I am once a year, to lay a wreath on behalf of the Tibetans who have died at the hands of the Chinese since the invasion back in 1959 as chairman of the All-Party Tibet group. There's also the launch this week of the NHS Parliamentary Awards, where I'll be looking to nominate some local clinicians in recognition of the great job that they do in the NHS locally. And then I've got a meeting, a reception with the Wildlife Trust on various environmental issues, who do some very important work, the Sussex Wildlife Trust locally as well. And also this week, the Home Affairs Select Committee will be signing off a report we've been undertaking on immigration detention conditions, which leaves a lot to be desired. We also got a 10-minute rule bill, as it's called, which is a private member's bill, which I'm supporting, about hereditary titles. Slightly niche subject, but it's all about the fact that women still can't inherit titles in the House of Lords and be first in line for inheritance, which I think really is probably well past its sell-by date, and we should have complete equality amongst the aristocracy, as well as for the rest of we plebs too. So it's an interesting private members bill I'm supporting there. And then later today, we've got a really important debate about education funding. We tackled this subject last week where I spoke, but today I shall be speaking again and coming up with specific examples of where my schools in Ada and in Worthing are really suffering from the squeeze on spending at the moment, because we still don't do well enough. We're doing better than we did, but we've still got further work to do. End of the week, I'm going to be at an event on Sisby Ring in Findon Valley to raise awareness about sheep worrying by dogs. And there have been too many incidents again of sheep who've been injured, in some cases killed by dogs let off the lead irresponsibly where there are livestock around, and I want to help raise the profile of that campaign again. I'm going to be appearing on the BBC South East Politics show this Sunday, which we record on Friday, and then I shall be with the Law Society for their annual dinner on Friday. Then Saturday, it's the usual Shoreham Farmers Market in Shoreham. I shall be there with my councillors from between about 10 till 12, and then the afternoon I've been invited to Worthing Hockey Club, where I'm the president, to see their new home and take in one of their matches and see what they're up to as well. So it's going to be a busy week. We might get news on Brexit as I speak. The Attorney General and the Brexit Secretary are both off to Brussels to come up with some new proposals around the whole backstop issue. And if they can get something out of Europe, then I think there is a prospect that we might get some movement on this wretched agreement at last and get things moving. Goodness knows we need to, and time is running out. So it's another busy, but also could be another important week.